Beautiful, beautiful voice there of Aretha Franklin.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Every soul singer today has been influenced by this woman. You know, that idea of taking one word, for example, in the lyrics and twisting it through several notes in a song. That's Aretha Franklin.
Yeah.
You know, and she brought this kind of music from the church to the public, the popular, you know, music front, and no one else in that time did it better than she did. Back then, musicians were supposed to be these doll-like, beautiful women. She was a real, natural woman.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
And that was so refreshing and different about her. But that voice, voice. Do you know how many polls have chosen her as the greatest singer of all time?
Yeah.
18.
Wow.
18 different polls have chosen Aretha Franklin. I think they can't all be wrong, right?
Yeah.
But now
No
her
way.
gift.
I think she also got like 18 nominees. What's the biggest Grammy?
Yes, she's got 18 Grammy Awards.
Okay,
yes,
so 18 seemed to be a very good number.
It's a massive number.
Yeah.
And she's got more nominations, obviously, but 18 of them she actually won.
She's also noted to be a freedom fighter.
Yes.
You know.
That song, Respect, was supposed to be about the civil rights movement. And it was an anthem for the civil rights movement, and everybody knows that song. But you know the real reason why we know she's the greatest singer of all time? Do you know when somebody sings his song and goes and makes money with it, and then Aretha Franklin comes and sings it, and nobody remembers the original artist again?
Oh no, I agree. That's when you know. Yeah. Well,
you know.
Sadly, she's passed at the age of 76 with talk of pancreatic cancer. But something that Fox News did, maybe if we have time, we'll probably share that with you. So they paid an 11-minute tribute of Aretha Franklin. Everything was all right until the very last minute when they brought a certain picture that was not her.
My gosh.
So if we have time, we'll share that with you. But let's dig into the papers.
Oh,
things happen. Fox, even when they have good intentions, see?
They can still mess it up. Because somebody at Fox News can't tell the difference between Aretha Franklin and some random black woman.
Well,
oh dear.
It wasn't just a random black woman.
It wasn't Aretha Franklin, though, was it?
No, it wasn't. Let's do the Find a Newspaper. Please send us messages. You can send us WhatsApp messages and regular text messages as well. We have our home series today. We're talking land acquisition and registration, so you have to stay tuned for that. So let's do the Find a Newspaper. Front page of the Find a new app to fight galamsey. It adds to drones to track illegal miners. Have you sighted the drone somewhere, by the way? Agric is key to unlocking Ghana's fortunes, and you're Hosi, but this is something that we absolutely know. It's just that we haven't been able to use that tool. Free SHS include private schools. Otum4 is calling, but there are already some private institutions that have been included in this. J.H. Mensah, Genealogy of Greatness, government to support Ghana Military Academy. That's Dr. Baumia saying there. So really headlines in the Find a Newspaper in terms of the front page. Maybe a bit of what Otum4 has been saying, perhaps on page 4.
Shall we go through the headlines first, and then we'll come to the stories? Right. Yeah, I mean, I've got the Ghanaian Times. It says GFA Executive Committee dissolved as FIFA sets up normalization committee. The Vice President says that African security agencies must collaborate to defend the continent. Also on the front page, Kandahar Youth Group leader arrested. And the big banner headline, government set to lift galamsey ban after implementation of roadmap. And then there's a little one at the top. Greater Accra regional ministers and 2 others dragged before court over Garmanche. That's been a long-standing dispute, hasn't it?
Let's do the Daily Graphic newspaper. Front page of the Graphic. Ghana FIFA hold hands to reform football administration. They're all smiling, so it looks all well and good. Only 1 out of 2,000 lifts in Accra certified. Professor Alex Dodu, the Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority, a picture of him beside this headline on the front page. State funeral for J.H. Mensah today. Tributes on pages 30, 51, 52, and 54. Also, government to lift ban on illegal mining soon. roadmap rolled out. Back page, tension mounts at Agbogbolushi over intended demolition exercise. And GTA, that's the Ghana Tourism Authority, launches initiative to develop tourism in the Volta region.
Right, Daily Guide, Bank of Ghana to prosecute dirty, in quote, bank officials. And it's got 3 pictures here. Mike Nyinuku, former Beige Capital CEO, William Ato Essien, former Capital Bank CEO, and Raymond Amanfo, who's the former head of banking supervision at the Bank of Ghana. Why these 3 pictures? Well, read the story and find out. Also, Ioko seizes Ayarega cars, and government to lift ban on mining soon. These are Ayarega cars. We'll talk about them a bit later. And also, Tamale Teaching Hospital gang leader grabbed. All of these stories on pages 3, 6, and 10 of the Daily Guide.
The Daily Statesman newspaper is next. Front page, growing Chinese presence in Ghana. Any threats? Papers seem to be asking a certain question. Unibank in 3.7 billion Ghana cedis fraud. Fraud is in quotes, chops customer deposit by 2.3 billion Ghana cedis. And there's a picture of the CEO then when Unibank existed, Dr. Kwabena Dufo Jr. NDC needs rebranding to overcome corruption tag. Echoes Puke Abra. This is attributed to him on the front page of the Daily Dispatch newspaper. By way of headlines.
That's the Statesman, isn't it? Sorry.
Oh, I said Daily Dispatch?
Yeah.
It's in my head.
Which is
but
actually,
that's the Daily Statesman.
Yeah, well, I've got the Daily Dispatch, and it has these. Tribute to J.H. Mensah on page 6. Now, this is interesting. With 30 million mobile money subscribers, government cautioned not to ever tax mobile money. Right, clearly someone's trying to make it political. That might work. Ghana and FIFA smoke peace pipe. That's on page 11. And of course, there are also some funeral details on the back page.
Let's do the Ghanaian Observer, front page of the Ghanaian Observer. Mahama Ayariga in trouble as Iyoko pounces on MPs 3 controversial Land Cruisers. NDC youth on rampage, chase health minister with stones over Mahama Polytechnic. What the headline didn't also say that a colleague of ours got injured in the process. Baumia commends Armed Forces College. Government goes high-tech to fight Galamsey. And J.H. Mensah goes home today.
Indeed. Right, let's do the Business and Financial Times. And Tullow, keen on new discoveries, is the banner headline. It's accompanied by these on the front page. Power sector still remains major risk to economic progress, according to ASEP. And banks collapse, a big warning to local businesses. And that's what Professor Peter Korte is saying. He says they must run on strong structures. Also, 2 busted for drug trafficking at Avian's Cargo Village. And on the back page, NPA engages NEMA residents on cylinder recirculation policy. Also, World Trade Center urges industries to visit Canton Fair. Well, there you go. Those are the headlines from me.
All right.
Shall we get into the stories?
Yeah, absolutely. And let's go to page 16 in the Daily Graphic newspaper. Ghana FIFA holds hands to reform football administration, says Ghana and the Federation of International Football Associations have agreed on a roadmap to reform football administration in Ghana and Africa. The agreement followed a meeting between Ghanaian government officials and a delegation of FIFA at the FIFA headquarters in Zurich, Switzerland yesterday. So it tells you about the delegation, but the resolution, a statement issued by FIFA after the meeting, said the presidents of Ghana and FIFA had committed to work together to offer leadership in reforming football administration in Ghana and Africa. So the government of Ghana and FIFA resolved to work closely to eradicate corruption and malfeasance and other associated criminal conduct from the administration of football in Ghana. So more of that in the paper, but we've all been talking about the fallout of this. Some people have said this is what we were drawing government attention to the whole time. They didn't have to go through all the court processes to liquidate assets of the Ghana Football Association. This is what we wanted them to do. But a lot of us also didn't really mind. We wanted the ban.
I think that knee-jerk reaction to Anas's documentary, I don't think there could have been any other reaction from the government. Honestly, they looked at the situation and realized, look, we're bankrolling this organization, which at every level is corrupt. And so they felt, you know, let's just get rid of it and think of what new to replace it.
Yeah.
But I think that's the problem. You didn't have a solution, but you decided to get rid of what existed.
They were listening to the people.
Well,
we all wanted some kind of radical action.
That's what we wanted.
Yeah.
So you see, if it had been, perhaps if it had been planned all the way through to the point where the decision was made that, look, if we liquidate GFA, we will replace it with this. And people thought, yeah, that will work. Then you take that proposal to FIFA, and if FIFA is on board with you and they will work with you to do it, you just go ahead and carry it out. But I think this time around they decided, look, we are a sovereign country, we're going to do this.
Exactly.
And then FIFA had to come and react. And of course, beyond that, the conversations, I'm sure, have highlighted to the people of Ghana that there is a way of doing this. And if you work with FIFA, your outcome will be better than if you do it alone.
The thing that we're all concerned with right now is, are they clearing the entire place? Like, would we see traits of those who were there before?
Well, let's pay attention to that.
That's the thing.
Let's pay attention to that. FIFA says they will work with Ghana to select the new people to run this this body. So let's see how it all.
All right,
pans
one more
out.
story still on page 16. The bit about almost all the lifts operating in high-rise building in the Greater Accra region are doing so illegally. And a survey by the Ghana Standards Authority found that contrary to the Weights and Measures Decree, we have something like that, 1975, which requires that all lifts and hoists be certified by the authority before they are installed for use. Only one lift out of the estimated 2,000 in the national capital has been certified. This means that only one lift in the region has been approved by the Ghana Standards Authority in compliance with the law. But that's it. We have a law. Out of 2,000, only one. I think somebody must be ashamed even in voicing this out.
Yeah, but it's better they voice it out than keep it quiet. Do you realize how dangerous that is? Look, there is a lift company called ThyssenKrupp in Europe. And I worked for them for a while as an intern when I was in university. Now, look, the number of moving parts that cause an elevator to work. The number of parts, over 2,000 moving parts on one elevator. And if any one of them malfunctions, it can cause death. So if you're maintaining an elevator, you have to make sure, and you have to check it regularly on a weekly basis. That is what the law says in other parts of the world. On a weekly basis, you must check and certify that your lift is safe for human use. If you continue to fill a lift with more people than it is designed to carry, it shortens the lifespan of that lift by 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so you can imagine there are lifts here which have already lived past their lifespan, but are hanging by a thread, literally hanging by a thread. There are 2,000 of them. So when you get into an elevator today, you are playing the lottery. You don't know whether this is the elevator which today is going to malfunction while you are in it.
True.
Okay, yes, there are safety features that are designed to prevent a lift from plummeting to the ground and killing you. But how do you know that those safety features are working?
I wish they had indicated which one out of the 2,000 has been duly certified.
So we will all go and use that one.
Yeah, but Professor Alex Dodo's been speaking to the Daily Graphic. He's the Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority. And, he says that to help ensure that people and institutions comply with the law for the safety of users, the authority had now decided to clamp down on perpetrators nationwide. So I'll leave the rest for you to read and understand how they intend doing this. But shouldn't they also be naming and shaming?
Absolutely.
Especially when there's a surge in high-rise buildings.
Yeah.
We have to know. But just a quick one in the center spread of the paper before I say goodbye to the Daily Graphic. Africa loses an estimated $50 to $70 million, so $50 million to $70 million yearly because most monies generated in the countries are repatriated. The Minister of Finance, Ken Oforiatta, has said. He attributed the situation to the huge informal nature of markets on the continent and charged, quote, "We should work at ensuring that monies stay in the continent," unquote. You're speaking at the inauguration of a regional office complex for the West and Central Africa region of the African Capacity Building Foundation in Accra last Wednesday. So Africa loses $70 million annually due to repatriation. The rest of the story is in the center spread of the Daily Graphic newspaper. All right, that's it for the paper.
Okay then, so I'll do this story from the Daily Guide. Iyoko seizes Ayariga cars. And basically this is saying that information reaching the Daily Guide indicates that Iyoko has gone ahead and seized these 3 Toyota Land Cruiser V8 vehicles, all white, which are said to be the subject of ongoing investigations into the circumstances that led to their importation into the country by Mahama Ayariga, who's a member of parliament. He's said to have breached tax rules, importing a number of expensive cars into the country without paying appropriate taxes, leading to these investigations. Iyoko is not commenting, according to the newspaper.
But is this also, could you, just before you continue, is this related to Martin Amidu's?
Absolutely. It's the same case.
The begging matter?
Yes, okay. Where certain big men and possibly women, family members and friends and priests and so forth, all queued up to ask, you know, the special prosecutor to not
let it go,
to not do the right thing. You know, when men of God come and beg you to do the wrong thing, you know you are in Ghana. All right, also the preliminary investigations pertain to the importation into Ghana through corrupt means and corruption-related activities of these 3 used white Toyota Land Cruisers. The newspaper quotes 7 April 2017 parliamentary resolution which led to the contracting of a facility of $22,500,000 United States dollars between Parliamentary Service and Societe Generale Bank in Ghana, which was for the purchase of 1 brand new official vehicle for each of the 275 members of Parliament. Why? Did they all need vehicles? You see that thing we do here in Ghana? You went for a loan to buy a new car for each MP. Whether that MP has a car, needs a car, or wants a car, you are buying them a car without money. And you say you are our representative.
I think they require it. You know,
yes, if you need a car, if you need a car, you can apply for one. Must the Parliamentary Service go and borrow money to come and buy one for every MP, whether you got one last term or not? Because you know, many of them come along, get a loan and buy a car for the same purpose. So you might have bought a car 4 years ago, but Parliamentary Service will give you a brand new car under this resolution. What is that?
I want to be in Parliament.
I want to speak to Parliament and ask them about this, because it's our money. They say they are our representatives. Which of them went to the constituency to ask them, should we please use your money to buy brand new cars, even though some of us already have cars?
But they have to work. They have to work.
Yes, but the point is, some of them already have cars. So why do you need to buy one on our ticket if you already have one?
They say these are monies that they pay back. So
what? So this one, when they buy the car for them, what will happen to it? Will it stay in a pool at Parliament? Then they didn't need 275, because all MPs don't travel at the same time. So obviously these cars are being given to them, just like the ones that they bought with the loans. You get the point I'm making?
I see where you're coming from.
Anyway, that's the story I wanted to do from the Daily Guide.
Okay.
But there are more.
Yeah, this one on Unibank is on page 2 in the Statesman newspaper. It says the KPMG audit report on the operations of the collapsed Unibank gives a chilling account of how a whopping sum of 3.7 billion Ghana cedis of customers' deposits was paid to shareholders of the bank under unusual credit terms. Under unusual credit terms is in quotes. So according to KPMG, 1.13 billion Ghana cedis of the said amounts, quotes, advanced to the shareholders was originally recorded under other assets and later transferred to loans and advances under unusual circumstances, unquote. Concluding its report on this subject, The renowned accounting and audit firm called for a forensic investigation into the transaction against the suspicion of, quotes, potential misappropriation of assets and fraud, on quotes. The ongoing revelations from the collapse of 7 local banks in the country continue to bring to the fore more how owners, directors, and managers resorted to obvious, dubious means to advance their own interests at the expense of public or customers whose interests they were ethically bound to protect. So there's more revelation in the Statesman newspaper with regard this 3.7 billion Ghana cedis, and they give some kind of breakdown. You can read all about it. Is in today's edition of the paper. Yep.
Okay, well, Unibank really bears a bit more scrutiny, doesn't it? We need to find out a bit more about what happened.
All of them, Kojo.
Yes, yes. The reason why I'm saying Unibank in particular is because we have been learning a lot about UT Bank and Capital Bank.
Okay, absolutely.
And I think that perhaps it's time we also started looking at these 5 new banks that got collapsed.
I agree.
Got dissolved, sorry. And Unibank,
we don't have to wait for a year to ask some of the questions that we've been asking from UT and Capital.
That's my point, exactly. You said it beautifully. So really, we need to start understanding what happened, especially in Unibank, because I think they are responsible for the largest portion, perhaps about 80–90% of the total amount that the government is having to take out, issue a bond on, to sort out this mess. 5.3 billion Ghana cedis, at UD Bank alone. And out of that amount, 3.7 billion of it is considered in this report by the newspaper to have been removed by fraud, in quotes.
Yeah.
But what else do you call it? When you give out a loan and you don't register it as a loan in your books, But anyway.
There's there was a release yesterday, statement on latest development concerning collapse of UT Bank. We're told from Prince Amwabeng, yes. But I don't know, has it been confirmed that he actually released that statement?
I think
before I begin to share details with everybody else.
I saw some confirmation last night, but of course it's right for you to be cautious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're doing our cross-check, and we're cross-checking. If it's confirmed, then we can share with you. But there was a release attributed to Prince Kofi Amwabeng on UT Bank, where he shares the frustrations. He talks about the beginning of the bank. They had to work on it for some 20 years, and they didn't know they were going to be here someday. So, and then he kind of set some record straight as well in the piece.
And he talks about the effect of Bank of Ghana's action on his other businesses.
Yes.
And that for me was very serious.
Yeah.
The way he describes what happened, he talks about a bank that was facing some challenges. He made it sound like, well, actually, these challenges could have been resolved, but then he ends the paragraph by saying, and then Bank of Ghana intervened.
Yeah.
So the suggestion here is that perhaps he believes that if there hadn't been an intervention, UT Bank could still have been saved.
Wow.
Well,
so we'll see if we can get a lot more from where that came from, and if it's confirmed, we can share with you.
Right, very quickly then, the dispatch says that with 30 million mobile money subscribers, government has been cautioned not to ever tax mobile money. Apparently, there was a stakeholders forum in Accra yesterday, and Eli Hini, who is MTN's general manager for mobile financial services, said, look, this idea of introducing extra tax to the service has the tendency to hurt the growing sector. But I wonder about that, I wonder whether we are accurate to suggest that if the government chooses to tax mobile money, fewer people will use it.
Well,
I wonder.
The only way you can truly test that
is to tax it, right?
Exactly. Then we'll see. I've got a birthday message.
Yes.
Happy birthday to my lovely son, Michael Nana Kwekwansa, who turns 2 today. May the good Lord bless him. And it's from his father, Nana Ansa Obofo in London.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to your son.
Right.
Yep.
Oh,
okay.
Here's one
Any
from
other stories before we go online?
Sure. Here's one from the Business and Financial Times. Banks collapse, a big warning to local businesses. Professor Peter Quarte is saying this, and he says basically these 7 indigenous banks should serve as a strong warning and a big lesson for other local businesses to run their companies on strong structures, or they will suffer the same fate. And I guess he's right about the point of structures. You know, that's where a lot of companies simply fall flat on their faces. People toil for years, set up, you know, businesses, and those businesses remain family businesses forever, you know, and there doesn't appear to be any structure applied to it. Anyone can come along and make any decision, and things just seem to fly about, you know, on the seat of the pants. And what it means is that if that strong CEO figure is not there, the business can't survive.
True.
You know, so structures are crucial. That is how you turn riches into wealth. You know, over that long-term period where you put in structures so that automatically, whether you're there or not, when you're asleep, when you're dead, this business will continue to make money and impact lives.
I agree with
you know, so we need to start thinking about that. But Ghanaian attitudes also, Mama B.
Charlie, some way. Some way.
You are there running your business, and then your staff are bringing you down. I watched this documentary on National Geographic. This giraffe was being chased by a pride of lions. And they were chasing the giraffe until he realized he can't outrun the lions. So he suddenly stopped. And then these lions surrounded the giraffe and started trying to attack one by one. And he would kick one and kick the other. And the lions were very cautious and wary. And the giraffe stood on its feet and kept kicking until it got too tired. And there was one lion just patiently waiting. You could tell. He knew that giraffe would get tired. And when the giraffe got tired, they pounced and just destroyed this poor animal. But that is what some
describing
staff,
a certain familiar situation.
Yes, that is what some staff do to the owners of the businesses that they work for.
True.
You know,
I've said once, oh, I wish this man's relative was here. I've said to a certain business, I wish there was a family person in the business. All right, we have to do online, but we've got some of your messages as well. This one says, good to hear that FIFA didn't ban us. Enemies are not God. Greetings to Lucy Obusu is from Augustine at Shiman. More of such messages, but let's do online quickly and we'll read some messages to you.
All right, so death on the Sahara Desert, touching story of a Ghanaian migrant. All the details on myjoyonline.com. Also, breakout of confines, conquer the world. Otabil charges Africans, and I believe this was at Festival of Ideas. Okay, what else? 5 million cedis was proceeds from property sale, not loan. Kofi Amoabeng clarifies, and I guess that is the verification we need. MyJoyOnline.com has that story up on their page. MPs criticize Parliament's in-camera probe for directors of failed banks, and I've got to say, I'm on the side of those critics. TTH attack. Staff return to work. Give police 1 week ultimatum. And let's hope the police can work with them and resolve that situation. Security alert. NPP thugs threaten to invade Tamale police station. And I guess that is a related story. Poor road hampering efforts to provide Murphy Kukopo. Have I said that right? Akukopo, thank you, with potable water, according to the DCE. Here's one more. NPP and NDC supporters clash over commissioning of a Jumako polyclinic. Right, and that story about the 5 million cedis being proceeds from the property sale is also there on the front page, if you will.
All right.
JoyOnline.com.
Daniel is in Akemofuase. Daniel says, can you confirm for us if this year's BC results are out? Yes, I think our producer, Derek called Sam, gave me a hint just before we came on air. We'll give you more information on that. This one says, where men are saying there's a cast down today, you'll be okay. I think this is a motivational message. Thank you for that, by the way. This one says, we thank God that at long last, the doctors at Tamale Teaching Hospital have suspended their strike. Nonetheless, let's prosecute those hooligans to serve as a deterrent to others. Blueprint from Escado Ketan. That's the thing. That's the thing. We're hoping that maybe something different will happen from the norm, what we know. This one says, as Kojo spoke about how frequent an elevator should be checked, I urge the Minister of Transport and the Highway Authority to check our overpass frequently to avoid what happened recently in Italy, since the engineers who built most of our road and bridges are coming from Italy. Steven Marcus Aplaku Botiano. Well, I'm not sure about a lot of the engineers coming from Italy. I'm not sure if you're insinuating anything, but I agree with you that we've got to check, because that's like an advanced country, and if that could happen to them, and then look at us, we are small. We're small. Our capacity, Charlie, we're still begging.
Well, I mean, let's be clear. The design of a bridge is only one of the many things that could cause it to collapse. So let's not be so quick to lay the blame at the doorstep of the designer. Materials, poor construction, so many other things could cause a bridge to collapse. So I think the point you're making, which is important, and I agree, is we ought to beef up our maintenance culture here in Ghana. And the elevators are just one example.
All right, stay with us. That's it for the review. We are back with a lot more. The home series is after sports. But our colleagues Selwyn and Benedict, they're here to tell us about, especially FIFA Ghana, the relationship, where we are right now, where we are going, all the details coming up here on our show. Stay with us.